Oh, isn't that sweet? That's so much better. Hi guys, this is James. Thank you for coming to the channel. Today is episode 2 of my Dumble Amp in a Pedal series, and today is a very specific one. This pedal is called Steel String, and it is modelled after the Steel String Singer, and in fact the pedal maker had Steel String Singer #1 of 12, they only ever made 12 at the most, to model it after, so it should be a pretty good representation. I just thought, if you didn't watch the first episode, first of all I'll put a banner up here if you want to go and watch it. That was based more on the like a reverb or overdrive special sort of amp, the Wampler Euphoria pedal. But today we're going for the Steel String Singer, which has a completely different character. So we're talking about, well, let me say what I've got written down here. It's an extremely clean amp, so it could actually achieve a sort of clean feedback, so you could push it all the way and it wouldn't really break up, and it had a very compressed sound, but with great dynamic response. Now the amp had high and low cut filters on the sort of knobs, which they've sort of mimicked here using a filter knob. And I think it was an important aspect of the amp that it really didn't scoop the middle at all, the middle frequencies, I guess we call it. So, you know, the reason for using the amp was to sort of cut through in a mix. And again, it had that chiminess that helped with that. And it also had lush reverb. So I will put some reverb on the amp. Now I'm going to turn the amp. I've got the amp set at about 2.5 on my amp, which gives a pretty clean sound. So it's a really full fat sound coming out of my amp. So I'm intrigued to see how the Steel String Singer pedal plays around with that. Now I've got this little piece of paper which I seem to, oh, here we go. So we have the suggested settings, and I'm just going to take you through a few of these, and it gives you a bit of a history of the amp in itself, which I think is interesting. So the players that used it most famously were Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Johnson, and John Mayer, Santana, and a few others. So there is a setting on here called BB Ray Shepherd. Now I couldn't actually work out what that meant until I looked up BB Ray Shepherd, and it sort of, Google sort of broke down a little bit. So we had a player called Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who apparently was a bit of a prodigy, fantastic young blues player. And his idol was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he opened for BB King at some point. So hence BB Ray Shepherd. So I'm intrigued, looking forward to finding out what that is about. Then we have an Eric Johnson setting. Apparently he fell out of love with these amps at one point, and actually Santana now owns Eric Johnson's amp. Eric Johnson mainly uses Marshall now, I think. We have a Jackson Browne setting, so Brown Sound they call it. Jackson Browne was a producer, I think, who found Stevie Ray Vaughan in a club. I think he was with David Bowie, and that was when, I guess, before Stevie Ray played for Bowie. And then Jackson Browne helped to produce Texas Flood, and he introduced Stevie Ray Vaughan to the Dumble, and in that case it was the Steel String Singer. Apparently Stevie Ray Vaughan's Fender wasn't cutting through the mix well enough, and they wanted this amp for that. And then John Mayer used it on Continuum, so you have a setting here called Gravity. I think John Mayer's a fantastic player, I just don't like his music personally, so I can't really play any, but we'll see what we can get out of that. And then Little Lowell, I can't remember the guy's first name, but I think Lowell was a great slide player. Not too sure, so I might not use that setting. And then you've got a setting called Always On, which I can only assume means that if you want to have a Steel String Singer that's not too coloured in any way, you use that Always On to sort of give you that effect, but it may mean something else and I'm missing out on that. So let's start. Again, I said I've got the clean sound from my amp. So what I'm going to do is go to the Always On setting. I have got one criticism of this pedal, and it's a reason I've now filmed this video 4 times previously over the last 2 days. These knobs, the little black ones, are completely useless in the way that you see what's going on. And what I mean by that is they turn so far. So that's the most anti-clockwise. And they turn all the way past itself, if you see what I mean. So you can't actually tell which way it's pointing. So I've filmed the whole thing with the gain, thinking the gain was up near the top and it was actually near the bottom, and I was getting confused as to why the sound wasn't doing too well. Very, very annoying. Why the little notch there isn't just half the width of the knob. That annoys me. So anyway, I've got to make sure I've got this all the way turned around, just before all the way turned around. No, sorry, that's for the filter. This for the gain. Okay, we're back here. I've just got to make sure. Yeah. Okay, and then the filter is just almost all the way on. And now we're on the jazz setting. So the jazz setting basically changes from jazz to rock. What it means is the jazz emphasizes a bit more of the low end. And it says on here that the rock increases high ends and cuts low ends. The gain works as a boost up until midway and then an overdrive past that, but it's a very transparent overdrive. The filter is sort of like a tone knob, essentially. It accentuates different mid frequencies. Okay, so let's try this. So, okay, so I definitely understand what they mean by chime. There's no scoop and it's compressed. You can definitely get that feeling. But I don't find that sound particularly exciting. But if you were looking for that particular sort of sound, I think it would work well. But I want to go to Gravity because a lot of you might be fans of John Mayer. So filter all the way around, gain. Again, I've got to turn the gain enough. Okay. So, off. Well, I think it is quite John Mayer-ish actually, and I really like it. Is what all I can say about that is it's less chimey. It's got a bit more fat to it, which I enjoy personally. It's got a lot of sustain and it is lush. It's a really dynamic sound. It's slightly edgy. It's a bit glassy. It's really good. It's very full of personality, which I think you can't go wrong with that, can you? As long as it suits you. Okay, let's go for an Eric Johnson setting. Expecting it to be a bit cleaner, even though I don't know much about Eric Johnson. So the gain, we want, this knob is ridiculous. Okay, because you could think that that was full on down there if you haven't played with the pedal for a minute. Okay, so off. I'd say that's a tone that really accentuates the Strat as a guitar. It's crystal clear. It's not scooped, but it's not too edgy or glassy. So I quite like it. I think in a rhythm sort of setting that works pretty well. Okay, so I want to try out the BB Ray Shepherd. So on here we pull the level back, keep to the jazz setting, keep the filter roughly there. Now the gain has to turn around to about here. Okay. So it's got BB and Ray written in there. It's got to be something special. If it's not, I'll be very disappointed. Okay, so let's try it off. That's a nice setting. I mean, it's got a bit more fat to it, which I like. That jazz knob on there is doing that more low end stuff. So if we turn it on to rock, just to see the difference. Let's play around for a second. Turn that filter all the way up. Turn the gain down a little bit. That's a pretty full-on setting, to be honest, which I like. It's got a lot of energy to it. Okay, we're going to go for the brown sound. So we're going to turn that level back a bit. Now, start with the filter full on and go to halfway back. Bring back the gain to about there. Right, keep it off. Isn't that sweet? That's so much better. You do start to feel that you reach the limit of what this can do at some point. It gets a bit compressed and it's a bit... But as a first gain stage, just to boost and bring out more character, more mid-frequencies, maybe turn it on during your rhythm playing and bring the volume back a bit on your guitar, bring the tone back. That is gorgeous, and the way it's compressed, it sort of reins you in and it keeps it punchy. And then you just need to do a little solo, you whack the volume up. It's really, for a clean sound, it's really pushing and it's punchy, which I really like. So I'm just going to whack the reverb up because it's supposed to have lush reverb. Let's see what's going on there. So I've been having a play around with this quite a lot, and I think it's a great pedal. I think it's one that would definitely find its way to the beginning or near the beginning of my sort of gain stages. I think it gives you colour more than it gives you sort of gain. I mean, that's sort of clear in the sort of definition of it. So you could have it set, I think for me, gain quite turned up, filter pulled back, maybe about there, keep the level wherever you need it, and I think so anyway, rather than me playing on and on, here's my final conclusion with this pedal, and let's compare it to the Wampler Euphoria just in terms of which should you buy if you only wanted one. I think the Steel String Singer is very sort of personality driven towards that specific amp, and what I mean by that, it's not a general Dumble tone. I think the Wampler Euphoria gives you the idea of a Dumble tone. That transparent overdrive, that fatness and sustain and all those great things. This one particularly, if you're a great fan of the sort of music that was made on these amps, that's great. If you're looking for a compressed rhythm sound, I think it works fantastically for that. And if you're just looking for a bite and a bark, a bit of lushness, then the way I've got it set right now, that is giving you that wonderful. Anyway, it's filling this room with a wonderful, glorious sound. So for 200 quid compared to $220,000, you're obviously onto a winner there. But if you don't want a very specific sort of sound, then I would say the Wampler Euphoria gives you more of an idea of the Dumble sound and fits really well on the pedal board to do other things as well. It's probably more versatile, whereas this one, it really has two types of sound, and then you can just tweak those a little bit. It has a slightly lusher, more full fat jazzy sound, as they would call it, and then it has that more, say, pushed mid frequencies, no low end sort of sound that they're calling rock. Either way, it's a very good quality pedal. I'm not getting noise issues, nothing like that. You know, it's really, really well built. It's good quality, heavy, and I like that. So there you go. That is part 2 of Dumble in a Pedal, and I think we found success again. It's a thumbs up. If you like this sort of content, or you want to see part 3, which should come in a few weeks, please subscribe to the channel. Each subscriber honestly means a massive amount to me, and a thumbs up really helps the video, or a comment. Have you had this pedal? What do you think about it? Also, give me ideas for more pedals you think might work if you're interested. Otherwise, have a great day. See you next time.